Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Rumor and Innuendo. It is me, House of Wrestling's Nick Hausman.
And me, Robert Karpeles of WWE Creative-ish. And I'm not the one that screwed up the intro today. Nick is.
Well,
this is a big day for me.
It's only screwed up if you watched it in video form. If you watched it in audio form, it went across totally fine. But yes.
But I want to make sure those listening in audio form know this was Nick's screw up and not mine.
Great.
And it's embarrassing because we have a big guest today and we want to pull out the red carpet.
Which we have a literal red carpet here today because we're going to be talking about the Iron Claw with Chavo Guerrero here. And just one moment before we get to Chavo, of course, we got to let everybody know shows brought to you by Ad-Free Shows, Podcast Heat. We got a lot to get to on the other side after Chavo, who's given us about 15 minutes of his time. You can ask him questions in the comments section. We'll try to bring some questions up here, but we will get to Raw. We will get to Seth Rollins' contract, all of that here on the show today. But hey, let's not waste any more time, everybody. He's here. He's waiting. He's in the green room. Chavo Guerrero, everybody. Chavo.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? And Robert, I love the WWE Creative-ish. That's good.
Thank you so much. It's good to have Chavo here. For some reason, Nick's been calling you Chavo.
I get it all the time. It just depends. If some people are Chavo, sometimes Chavo. I answer to both.
He's got to listen to the old ring entrance. We need Liz Pena back to do the Ooh Chavo.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Big Liz. She's my girl.
Well, this is a bit of a reunion here because Robert has told us he was around during your Kerwin White period in WWE, and I don't know if you want to blame him for that, thank him for that. I don't really know how you want
that was 100% of Vince, a thank and blame. That's 100% of Vince.
Well, we're not here to talk about Kerwin White. We're here to talk about the Iron Claw. I had the chance to see this movie in Chicago about 2 weeks ago, and it's very well done. I've been telling a lot of people that if you really liked The Wrestler, you're probably going to love this. It's very much in the same tone and style. It's a way to bring this great wrestling story to people who may not be pro wrestling fans. But you, Chavo, you kicked this movie, and I can talk openly about it now. The embargo is lifted here, so we're not going to spoil the film, right? But I'm going to talk more openly about it. You kicked this movie off. You're fighting Zac Efron. You get more screen time, spoiler alert, than MJF in this film. Kind of bring us into how you kind of got involved in this movie, Chavo, and a little bit about the history, I guess, of the Guerreros and the Von Erichs, because I know this movie meant more to you than a lot of other projects that you've taken on in recent years.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you guys talk and give any spoilers, and I won't until it actually is out in theaters. But yeah, you know what? It was really, really a cool experience to be able to be a part of this film. And not only a part, kind of a big part with Sean Durkin, the director, writer, producer, everything. But he, approached me through a mutual friend, actually. His production company was trying to get a hold of me. And, in Hollywood, you get a lot of BS emails of people trying to, hey, I got this project, I got this, and it's 1 in 20 are actually for real. So I had somebody reach out, and I was going to call back or whatever, but then Allison Brie, my Glow star and, famous actress, she texted me and was like, hey, Chavo, there's this director named Sean. He's an excellent director. He really helped out her husband, Dave Franco, really helped out Davey, she calls him, on his directorial debut. And I think you should talk to this guy. So I said, oh, absolutely, then 100%. So made the point to give him a call, and we met, and he told me his vision for the film, and it wasn't just some guy thinking, well, I want to do a wrestling film. No, he was a wrestling fan and was really enthralled with the Von Erich family and the story, even way before any tragedy. So, I mean, right from that first meeting, I was like, all right, let's make this, let's do this, and that's how it came out.
Yeah, man. Well, you, like I said, you're wrestling Zac Efron in the beginning. First of all, you're in LA right now. Were you at the LA red carpet premiere last night with everybody?
I am. Yes, I'm still actually in the hotel room right now. We're at the really nice hotel in Hollywood, but I was at the LA premiere last night. Yes.
Man, so that's getting a lot of attention here today, Chavo. What was that like? Did you get a chance to spend some time with Max and John Cena and everybody?
It was really great seeing all my old wrestling fam. I just posted something on my Instagram. with a picture of me and John Hennigan, John Morrison, Johnny Nitro, all of his names. I call him Johnny Name Change. So John, Taya, Max, MJF, Kevin Von Erich, it's a really cool little picture. But of course, I got to see Cena, and we text periodically, but I hadn't seen him kind of in a while. So it was really cool to actually give him a big hug and just kind of say hey, and just really proud of him and all the stuff that he's doing, and met his lovely wife. It was really, really cool.
Man, I'm as fascinated as anybody to figure out what him and Max were talking about, because there's like video that Van Vliet put out, and you can see they're talking. You can't really make out what they're talking, but man, to hear what's going on between those two guys right now, really interesting time and place to be. Where you're at.
I was when they were. I had finished the red carpet already by the time they were kind of going on it, and I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Hey, see that right over there?" And my wife's not a wrestling fan, that's just kind of my job, and we've been around a whole long. We've been together even way before I was even a pro wrestler, so which says a lot. But I go see those two over there. She goes, "Yeah." Of course she knows John Cena, and she goes, "Yeah, John," and she goes, "And is that?" I go, "Max, yeah," and I go, "That's very big in the wrestling world." And she goes, "Oh, really?" I go, "Yeah, Max is like the next big thing." And she's like, "Oh, really, really? How is he good?" I said, just put a mic in that guy's hands and he's gold. And you put John against Tim with mics, that's money talking right there.
Yeah, 100%, man. And for you, you were an executive producer in this film, and Max was also an executive producer on this film.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly does that entail? Like, it's a very cool title, but like, what exactly comes along with the title of executive producer?
So producers and executive producers, there's kind of two ways to go about it. You can be, let's say you're a producer on a film or a project. A lot of times, sometimes it's just you introduce two people that kind of got the ball rolling and they made you a producer. Or sometimes you're doing everything, that is what I do. Whenever I get a producer credit or a supervisor producer or an executive producer, it's one of those that you are involved in many aspects of the film, and that's basically what I do. I don't know what Max did, to be honest.
Yeah.
I congratulated him. I go, "Hey man, congrats on the EP," but I didn't get into it with him because it's really none of my business. I mean, I don't know. I know that he had a lot more scenes in the film. And I know it's already been people talking about it already, but I mean, I had more scenes in the film as well, and they were nixed out. But that's how it goes. Talking to Sean, the director, sometimes you find the film in the edit process. So there's sometimes that with your writing and what's your filming, but when you start editing, sometimes you find that you find the film that you really want, and I think that's what happened here. I saw the first edits with me, Sean, the director, and the editor. So that edit was a little different than what we're seeing now, and it's actually this one I think is better, definitely. You cut out certain things that aren't pivotal to the story, where sometimes it's just fluff. There's a lot of times you see a movie and you're like, "Hey, that was a great movie," but it could have been 30 minutes shorter, or it could have been, they didn't explain this part. So I think this edit really kind of did that.
Yeah. Was there anything you wanted that to be included that you feel was left out, or no?
Yeah, my scenes.
Okay, got it. Wonderful.
No. You know what? Not really. The way Sean wanted to shoot the film and also edit the film. A lot of times, we'll do, if I'm working on a project, we'll do, a 30-second wrestling scene and 3 or 4 different of those clips. That way the director can get what he wants in and out. But Sean didn't want that. Sean wanted he wanted a match. He wanted like a 10-minute match. And then he'd pick and choose the pieces that he wanted out of that match. And that's what we did with really all of the matches you see on in the movie. The stuff that me and Zach shot it was like a 10-12 minute match that we shot probably 15 different times.
Man,
Yeah, with filming, we shot the film on 35 millimeter, so it's a different way to different look, it's a different feel, and that camera is a different camera. So when he's in the ring, it's not a handheld camera, it's not a steady cam, it's 35 millimeter. It's different. So that when the DP, the director of photography, was in the ring shooting with us, there was 3 people behind him. So I mean, they're holding the camera, they're holding the cords, and that's not every camera does that. But the 35 millimeter, you have to do that. And so I'm in the ring wrestling with Zach, and we got to really watch out because there's all these people behind us in a sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have
Go ahead, Robert.
That's fine. That's what I wanted to ask about. I was letting Nick get his formal stuff out of the way. But when you're working with Zac Efron, you're working with these guys, and you're taking actors and you're trying to get them acclimated into the ring. What does that process look like? Are you showing them footage? Are you talking them through things? What did it take to lay out basically a 10-minute match, which is no easy feat, even when you're trained?
Well, yes to all of those things. Yes to all of those things. It's a lot. Some talking in the background here. Is that you guys? Is that me?
Some feedback or something here.
Yeah, feedback maybe. So anyways, it's a lot of things. It's showing footage. It's working on different moves. It's showing footwork. It's got so many different things that I have to teach an actor. But what I do on film, it doesn't translate into the wrestling world. But then again, what we do in the wrestling world doesn't translate to film either. So it's very much its own entity. It's like its own thing here. So if you're a pro wrestler, doesn't mean you can act in a pro wrestling movie. And the same thing, if you're acting in a pro wrestling movie, doesn't mean you can be a pro wrestler.
Yeah, for sure, man. And you've trained so many Hollywood actors at this point. I feel like you should get them all together and do like a battle royal or something. Maybe just as like a fight exclusive or something. You could get the cast glow.
Young Rock, we did a big battle royal the first season, and that was not one real wrestler in there. It was only all actors doing a battle royal, which is probably like a 4 or 5 minute battle royal that we shot every time. That was stressful because I had 20 people in there that don't know how to wrestle. So I was like, guys, I need you here. I need you here. I mean, it was like Jenga's putting all these pieces together. I'm like, how is the DP going to shoot this? How's the director want to film this? Where's the camera's going to be? So it was all these different things. Like I was like, I call it like wrestling Rain Man. I'm like, okay, the hypotenuse of the right triangle is the square root. I'm like all this different stuff going on, and I'm like telling these guys, okay, do not improvise. I cannot have you do exactly what I say. When I say you take 2 steps, you take 2 steps. I don't need 3 steps. And they're like, oh, what? And I said, this is why. You get hurt. There's people going here. There's so much stuff going on. And as soon as we shot it once, everybody said, oh, I get it. I understand. But the first shot, they're like, oh my God, there's so much stuff going on. I'm saying, yes. When I say 2 steps, I mean 2 steps. Do not throw an extra punch. Do not grab the guy. Don't do any of that stuff. And they're like, okay, we get it.
All right, Chavo, we only have like 2 more minutes with you here. We have got some questions coming in here with Matthew Rodriguez asking about it. Punk is back, right? Gotta get your take. You spent time in AEW, right? You know the lay of the land. What's your thought about Punk being back right now, and what do you think of kind of the state of the 2 companies, both WWE and AEW at the moment?
WWE is very, very good at putting differences aside and making those dollars. And if you look at the response that Punk got coming back, and remember saying, should he go back? Should he not go back? Everybody's going to have an opinion on it. But when it comes down to the dollar sign, I mean, it was a pretty good decision. Whether it plays out, whether it pans out, we'll have to see in the future. But it's, when he first went to AEW, what a great acquisition it was for them. Did it last? No. Did it kind of flounder? Okay, yeah, sure. But then him going to WWE is like, Like, wow. I mean, and the reaction from Seth Rollins and all the guys in the ring. I mean, it was like, oh, was that a work? Is that a shoot? What's going on? I mean, they're working all of us. It was awesome. So I was a big fan. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe he came back. So I definitely can see it for sure. I mean, that's been their MO forever. You know, you got Hogan leaving the company and coming back, you know, Mach never went back, but NWO, you know, leaving, and really Vince was almost put out of business by WCW, almost. And then to see him triumph and come back and change his product and pivot, and that, you know, that they're even bigger than they've ever been, you know, so they're very, very good at, like I said, putting the differences aside and just making the money.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that was the
Yeah.
you know, that was the biggest takeaway I saw was I feel like they would not have introduced Punk back into the WWE locker room unless they knew all sides were going to work together and this was going to be harmonious. And I think they understand this is a business, and we do all want to be as successful as we can.
It's a business, but also, you know, Vince, and I don't know how involved he is anymore, because he was, when I was there, he was always the most involved person. I can't see him not being involved and not being still having his fingers and everything, but he really does like someone kind of being an a-hole back there. If you look at old Shawn Michaels stuff, you know, I mean, it was almost like he was given the keys to the kingdom because of his attitude. His work, of course, don't get me wrong, but his attitude as well went along with it. And, you know, I've talked to many different, you know, champions. I won't name them, but they're like, hey, you know, Vince used to tell me, why are you being so nice? I'm giving you the okay to be a jerk and be a total a-hole to people. And those guys were like, that's not who I am. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be an a-hole just to be an a-hole. So, you know, Punk can be an a-hole. But to me, not. I get along with him awesome. Phil's great. I've never had an issue with him. I worked with him, you know, for 3 straight months doing the ECW stuff. Longer, probably half a year. And we never once had one issue in the ring. Never once, not even like a riff. We always got along so well. So he's a very misunderstood guy. But, you know, Punk can be Punk. It can be difficult. So I think that only lasts so long in WWE when, you know, I think he's probably on his best behavior right now.
All right. I know we're at time.
I can say confident. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
We're stepping on each other. We're good. I'm just going to say this real quick, because this is important for me to at least get it out there, because you're saying about Punk and those guys. You're someone that, in my time working there, I always pointed to. Chavo was a guy that was a consummate professional. You were fantastic working on pre-taped. We flew you into Stanford and used you for stuff. You were a guy that we knew we could lean on no matter what we gave, and that had a tremendous value. So, yes, there are guys that are out there that are a-holes, but your longevity in part and phenomenal in the ring, consummate professional, fantastic guy to work with.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Maybe I should have been a little bit more a-hole. I would have gotten a little further.
No, see, the fact you're not an a-hole is why you've been able to transcend and go into Hollywood and have very productive relationships and make these great deals happen. I will say, I still see a spot for you back in the fold, working with Dom, working with the LWO. Do you get the itch? Do you think we ever get to see you back in the WWE fold here in the not too distant future?
You know, I get that a lot. And actually, lately, I've been getting that every time I'm talking about wrestling or any interview I'm doing. People are like, oh, why are you not doing stuff with them? Why are you not back there? And really, it's just, you know, really, ask Triple H. Let's talk.
Cool. I'll be at the Rumble. I'll be in the press conference. I might bring it up. So
there you go. Yeah, I love it. You know, you brought that up to Tony that one time, and that was really cool. I enjoyed, and it got him on the spot. He was kind of like, you know, I love Chavo. He's great.
I'm talking to Tony again this afternoon on the media call. Should I bring you back up there too?
Bring it up. I tell you what, Tony, I get along with Tony. He's a great guy. I you know, I love him. I'm glad that AEW, and back to you guys' question, the second part of your question, it's really cool to see AEW there. That's a rival for, you know, WWE. It's better for the fans, it's better for the wrestlers, it's better for everybody. It's the when you have people competitive, you know, it keeps them going and keeps them having to strive and outdo themselves. And they say, you know, being comfortable is kind of the worst thing for being creative, because it just doesn't work. But once, you know, you have to be creative, because if not, you know, someone's going to take your spot. that's when you get the best wrestling. And if you remember the Monday Night Wars, I mean, wrestling was never better.
Absolutely, my friend. All right. Well, December 22nd, Iron Claw hits theaters nationwide. Go check it out. Chavo, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us here today. It's always great. It's always great talking with you, man.
Big Nick, Robert, appreciate you guys very much. Always having me on, and you guys always got my back. So appreciate you guys. And now it's off to press for 824.
Enjoy, my friend. Bye. Bye, Chavo.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right. And there we go.
All right.
Our first guest on the show, Robert. I enjoyed that. I feel I feel like I should have pulled the trigger on talking Punk stuff earlier. It's like if I don't talk about Punk, I feel like I missed an opportunity. But then if I talk about Punk, everyone goes, that's all Nick Hausman talks about is Punk. But that really opened the door, I felt like, for some very good conversation there at the end.
Yeah, no, I think it's, I mean, look, I think it's really interesting because anytime you have someone that's from the wrestling world going into Hollywood, that methodology, that process, and the big talk before this movie's even come out is, have you seen what Zac Efron looks like? Have you seen the footage in the trailers? Boy, these guys look good. And we saw what Logan Paul has done. We saw even before with Mickey Rourke and the condition that he got in. And Chavo was hands-on in those situations. We didn't even get to touch on it, but his work on Glow. Dude. I mean, you're taking someone like Allison Brie from Community, and you've turned her into someone who looked like a formidable wrestler, at least a competent wrestler in the ring. It's awesome.
Chavo, very talented man. He's won many awards too. He deserves all of them. All right, let's dive into the news here. We have about 10 minutes left to talk about all that we can that happened news-wise.
We might not get to Billy in the CW today at this rate. I'm sorry, Chavo went a little long.
We may not get to Billy Corgan in the CW today, but I do want to make sure we get to this one item here. Fightful's report about Seth Rollins' contract. Now, according to Fightful, Seth Rollins' WWE contract expires in June of 2024. Now, according to their report, WWE sources have not denied this fact. They haven't heard back from Rollins. They do know that there haven't been any new conversations about having him sign a new deal. And, a lot of speculation, I guess, will he, won't he resign? I find it very, 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 very difficult to believe that Seth Rollins would not resign with WWE, but I guess anything is possible, Robert.
Anything's possible. He's not going anywhere. He literally said it on Raw about this being his home. I don't think that you, storyline or not, go that heavy into this is my place that I've built and I'm not the guy that's going to turn around and leave. And then he goes and jumps ship, because some of these guys, they do care about their legacy and reputation. Not to mention, I don't see him being as happy in AEW as he is in WWE.
Yeah, I don't think so either. A lot of talent goes over to AEW. They get great money, offered creative freedom, but pretty quickly people just kind of get tossed into the shuffle. I mean, Adam Copeland has only been in AEW for maybe a month and a half, and it feels like a lifetime. I'm not gonna lie.
More than a month and a half.
When did he debut? When did Adam Copeland debut?
At this point, he's on
Wrestle Dream, right?
At this point, he's on prison time, where every day feels like a month. So it could very well be a shorter window of time than it really is.
Never mind. It's just been 2 months. Wrestle Dream was October 1st.
Okay. And he's already just there as a guy. It'll be tough. I don't see Seth going anywhere. I get that contracts have an end date. It's what I do for a living, but they'll re-sign him and he'll be fine. And he'll be there for a while.
It was a week ago where I was talking to you about how I felt like the Rollins Punk feud immediately felt to me like what everybody wanted to see Punk and the Elite feud in AEW look like. I got hints of it really early on. And last night, man, they ramped that up to the nth. There were side-by-side replays of the Hangman Adam Page CM Punk Dynamite promo being played up against this Rollins Punk promo. For those that didn't see, last night on the show, Punk chose to sign with Raw, chose to enter the Royal Rumble, teased maybe facing Seth at WrestleMania. But these guys were, it very much felt like the kind of Hangman Page, this is my place. You don't belong here. We don't want you here. I'm going to expose you. Called him a fraud. They didn't give Punk a microphone at first. he just had to stand there and let Rollins cut his promo, which I think was like the page. It was very well done. It was just a little note there, a little detail. But I thought this came across really, really well. Definitely made me want to see Punk and Rollins. And yeah, man, they are giving us the Punk Elite feud in WWE. I kind of love it, man.
I couldn't be happier to see this because I thought after the Nick Hausman caused brawl that happened in AEW that they were all going to come together and realize we can make a pile of money by telling this story. And they never did it. So now WWE gets to have that bite of the apple, which is Rollins is the guy who said, you left 10 years ago, you badmouth us. We don't want you here. And I will do everything I can to embarrass and humiliate you. And if by some miracle you make it to WrestleMania and you win the Royal Rumble, I'm going to destroy you. So now here you are in December, and we've probably got our Mania main event locked up.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing. The road to WrestleMania really has already begun pre-Rumble here. On the day one episode of WWE Raw, it was announced that Drew McIntyre is going to be taking on Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. Do you find there to be any chance of Drew? I mean, Drew's getting a really strong push right now. You know, does this feel like the time to do a title switch on the road to WrestleMania? Are you so ingrained with Rollins Punk? What are you doing here?
I don't want to risk Rollins Punk. What you could wind up doing is something where Seth somehow escapes Drew and then Priest cashes in, and then you do Seth and Priest at the Rumble for Seth to get the title back. But it's a convoluted story. I'd rather have Seth as the strong champion holding that title, not a belt, until you get to WrestleMania and you get Seth and Punk. The fact that you announce Punk in the Rumble match itself means we're not getting Seth and Punk at Rumble. We'll probably get Drew and Seth as a rematch at the Royal Rumble. I don't see them giving you a clean finish on the January 1st edition of Raw because while it's great to advertise a strong main event, New Year's Day ratings, people got other stuff going on. There's college football. People are still recovering from the night before. I don't think it's going to do a huge number for them to switch the title.
We have here Ken Hanley kind of asking, do we think that Damian, Drew, Seth are going to hot potato this title, milk the suspense for who faces Punk at WrestleMania? It doesn't sound like you're on board with that.
No, because the story is Seth and Punk. You're not as excited to see Punk and Drew. You're not as excited to see Punk and Priest. The story is Seth has never main evented WrestleMania. Punk has never main evented WrestleMania. They both clearly on camera hate each other as characters. So you're going to want to see what's going to happen in that title match. And then it frees Cody up to finish one of these stories.
Aaron Manzo here asking, I'd like to see Seth use the impending expiration of his contract as part of the story with Punk. Yeah, now here's the real bidding war of 2024 is Seth Rollins, right? He can pick up not just the elite Punk storyline, he can also go steal that thing from Max that has mysteriously been dropped since my reporting went out. So I think it's Seth Rollins embodying AEW here is really, it's quite something. It's breathtaking. I'm very much on the hook for it. We don't have time to get into the rest of Raw here tonight or today, but Gunther's going to give Miz an IC title rematch. If Miz loses, he won't be able to face Gunther again for the title as long as he holds it. We're on the road to Becky versus Nia Jax. There was a tense promo between them. Michael Cole confirmed that Sami Zayn has a quote-unquote partially torn meniscus disc partially torn meniscus, not disc. That'd be a broken bone. So that's why he's off TV. He'll likely be back by the Rumble would be my guess. And, of course, Jey Uso can say yeet and sell yeet merchandise again. Oh, thank God. Oh, yeet, goddamn.
I was worried.
Oh, yeet.
I didn't want to make him have to keep blurring the footage from the one time he wore the yeet shirt. But now, let's drive this into the ground.
We touched on this, I believe, yesterday, maybe Friday, I forget, because time is a flat circle. But yesterday, we got a legal document. We got a court document that was put out. It's public. I got to review it. I don't know if you've had a chance, but it's pretty brief. And it just basically says that MLW and WWE are now finalizing the settlement in their antitrust lawsuit. The judge is saying they have 30 days to get this thing settled and to file their paperwork to dismiss this case. That means we will unfortunately not get a trial. We will unfortunately not go to discovery, which is my favorite legal thing, when people are just forced to give over all of their internal documents. I know you were kind of coy on commenting on this case earlier, Robert, but correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like MLW is going to be getting a windfall of money here. I mean, did this work? Did this pay off? Was this a successful gamble on Court's part?
Don't put me in a position to say positive things about Court. I'm going to do it. That's right. I'm joking. It's fine. We're whatever. Anyway, look, the entire purpose of this was kind of like when you're a pitcher and you throw a pitch at the guy's chin to get him to step off the plate a little bit. This was MLW trying to say, you guys need to stop in the tampering, interfering, whatever it is that you are doing. We're going to file this. It's going to cost you some money. No, we're not going to see this to completion. But now maybe WWE is going to think twice before they potentially take a further action that would be cause injury to another company. That would be my take. And yeah, it doesn't hurt that you may walk away with a couple of dollars after.
Yeah, no, I think this was a successful gamble on MLW's part. Marty reading reports from, I think, PW Insider and Fightful saying that Court plans on doing more shows next year. I don't think it's any surprise that he's, investing more in someone like a Matt Cardona, who does not come cheaply, especially compared to other talents on the market right now that MLW is working with. So hopefully they can take this money, reinvest, and do something powerful with it. But time will tell. It did work out for them, though, in my opinion here, in a lot of ways. Lexus King took to his Twitch. He asked his fans not to call themselves registered Lex offenders. That just seems like a no-brainer in 2024, right?
Wow. I want to know who came up with that in the first place, because they should be working for one of the companies doing branding. That is a special degree of creepy and fantastic. And it's a good way to get Velveteen Dream back on TV.
Wow. All right. Lastly here, last Friday on SmackDown, Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, were posing at the top of the entrance ramp. Lashley just advanced in the U.S. title tournament, and the Fox, WWE on Fox account put out a tweet that just said, "Dim boys," all caps. Mark Briscoe, whose brother passed away in January, so we're reaching the 1-year anniversary of this, grieving, sees this particular tweet, doesn't like it, lets people know that. Maria Kanellis, who was close with the Briscoes, also saw it, let people know she didn't like it. They both got berated by a bunch of psychos on Twitter. Maria wound up deactivating her account for a little while. She's back on here now. But Robert, how did WWE on Fox think that, how out of the wrestling loop are you to do something like that? That just seems stupid to me.
Look, the WWE and Fox Twitter account, generally really on the nose, really good. They have a lot of fun with the content. My guess is it was muscle memory where they knew this phrase and they didn't know where they knew it, and they just put it out there. I don't think they were doing this intentionally to slight the Briscoes. It's embarrassing. I understand why Mark's going to be upset about it. You should be upset about it. It's trampling on intellectual property. Not a great thing to do, yeet. And I think that going forward, they'll be a little bit more sensitive about what they wind up putting out there. They're not going to be as willy-nilly, not to use such strong language.
Texas Leprechaun here saying Dim Boys has been around and used outside of wrestling. My Dallas Cowboys are Dim Boys, but in the wrestling world, it's only for the Briscoes. And I think that's pretty common knowledge that when you're using that term in pro wrestling, especially the same year that Jay Briscoe passed, you should know better. And to that, Johnny Disco says yeet, 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 indeed. That'll bring us to the end of the show, everybody. Sorry, Billy Corgan and the NWA didn't have time to chat about that CW story, but come back. You never know. We will be back here tomorrow. It's Wednesday. If you like the show, you can leave a comment or a rating. All of that stuff on our iTunes charts. Very, very appreciated. You guys have been wonderful with the comments. We'll read some more here when we get to Fun Friday on Friday. And tomorrow on our show, we have another special guest that's going to be joining us for a couple minutes. Fight TV president Michael Weber is going to be here. They're rebranding to Triller TV. They've expanded their relationship with several combat sports entities. Of course, they're very tight closely tied to GCW and many other big pro wrestling companies. So we're going to get some inside business of the business talk going with Michael tomorrow. Come back for that. I'm at Nick_Hausman. Houseofwrestling.com is where you can go to support me and check out all the news that I'm writing about. Robert, that's it.
You can follow me on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow me on Twitter at WWE Creative_ISH. And just a reminder, since tomorrow is Wednesday, #RIPod. We are scouring the Chicagoland area to find this Woo energy drink. And my guess is if you are the flagship energy drink of a major wrestling promotion, you have to be really easy to be found and located. So I'm sure Nick will find a can. And if we get some of that positive #RIPod love, Nick Hausman will guzzle that thing tomorrow after we talk to the president of Fight. So on behalf of the days are numbered, Nick Hausman, I'm Robert Karpeles. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
I found it.